Lifestyles, Architecture. Monumental Prints of Southern Florida by Jose Solares. When, during the first decade of the past century, wealthy industrialist James Deering ordered the design of his fabulous mansion in the Italian Renaissance style from the architects F. Burral and Paul Chanflin, they never imagined that they were leading the way to a new stylistic current, later known as Revival Renaissance or American Renaissance, which, led by the celebrated Palace of Vizcaya, would set the pattern for a series of historic monuments in South Florida. This palace, located in Coconut Grove and facing Biscayne Bay, was inaugurated in 1914 and is a museum today. It is a replica of an Italian palace with 70 rooms. Over 1,000 workers were employed in its construction, using materials brought from Spain and Italy, and incorporating large pieces of European castles, which had been disassembled, transported by sea, and then reassembled on the site of their final destination. Its walls, arcades, and galleries of concrete stucco, adorned with native coral, open to spacious gardens, carefully designed in the European style. At the end of the 1920s, a few years after the construction of Vizcaya, the visionary urban developer and real estate agent Mr. George Merrick, inspired by this new stylistic current, conceived a project for the area that later would be known as the peaceful, elegant neighborhood of Coral Gables, the beautiful city. Streets and avenues laid out in green tunnels, covered by the lush foliage of the trees that cool the area with their shade, open onto a variety of plazas and fountains which adorn the main entrances from the city, through gateways of triumphant arches made of coral. However, the largest historic monument of this style in the area is the Biltmore Hotel. Inspired by the Cathedral of Seville, Spain, it was designed by the architectural firm Schulze and Weaver. This firm was also in charge of designing two of the most important monuments of the era: the Freedom Tower built in Miami in 1924 and the Breakers Hotel complex in Palm Beach in 1925. Built in just 10 months in 1926, the Biltmore Hotel is a National Historic Monument. During the Second World War, its installations were used as an army hospital since, in Coral Gables during the Great Depression that preceded the war, soldiers trained in the fields were housed in many of the buildings that were unoccupied during that time. The color of the exterior of the Biltmore Hotel remains unchanged until today. The hotel currently offers luxurious comfort in its 76,000 square feet of installations, which include an 18-hole golf course, tennis courts, a spa, a gymnasium, and the largest hotel pool in the United States. Just like the tower of the Biltmore Hotel, the Freedom Tower was inspired by La Giralda Bell Tower in Seville. The building, located in downtown Miami, was originally planned to house the offices of the Miami Daily News newspaper, and a light was installed in its highest point to guide ships arriving at the port of Miami. Its greater significance, and from there its current name, was acquired in the 1960s when it served as the reception center for the wave of Cuban immigrants that arrived in Florida seeking refuge. In its office, requests for political asylum were processed for thousands of Cubans who saw this ancient building as the port of entry to the country that returned the freedom that they had lost in their own land. The building is still a symbol of the history of Cuban immigration to Florida. Slightly further away in distance, although not in time, the same architects that designed these projects immortalized another historic monument, the Breakers Hotel complex in the area of Palm Beach. With its classic Renaissance style, this luxurious hotel set a precedent in the rich collection of historical monuments of Florida by being one of the few in the nation that remain categorized as a grand hotel. The hotel maintains the elegance of times past and plays a principal role in the tourism industry of South Florida. Close by, shortly after the inauguration of the Breakers, architect Marion Sims was hired by the enigmatic Marjorie Merriweather Post, then Mrs. E.F. Hutton, who had searched for many years for the exact place between the ocean and Lake Worth to build her new home. Together with a real estate agent, she had trekked through jungle-like areas until she found the perfect place, a marshy parcel of 20 acres for the construction of the 1,010-square-foot mansion, which had 114 rooms, including 58 bedrooms and 33 baths, where the respectable widow of Palm Beach would reside. The mansion had 3 bomb shelters as well. In January of 1969, the Department of the Interior named Mar-a-Lago a National Historic Site, and the property was listed in the National Registry of Historic Places. However, history does not stop. The proliferation of hereditary monuments continues today, causing surrounding properties to reach ever higher values. Much more recently, the construction of the Performing Arts Center north of downtown Miami, similar in standing to New York's Lincoln Center, will be the most important focal point of what is known as the Arts and Entertainment District surrounding Biscayne Boulevard. The design of this monumental project, with an inauguration date slated for fall of 2006, is the work of Argentine architectural genius Cesar Pelli, who avoids all formalistic preconceptions in his works, allowing each to rise as the result of a synthesis between its location, construction technology, and the purpose or function for which it is planned. A product of the rapid growth of the cultural community of Miami-Dade County during the past 10 years, greater than any other metropolitan area in the country, an initial $412 million was required to undertake this project, which will house the Concert Association of Florida, the Florida Grand Opera, the Miami City Ballet, and the New World Symphony. Pelli, once again, had managed to make a city with his work, integrating it into the urban profile and culture as an innovative contribution, interpreting the space in such a way that in the future it will be impossible to imagine the site without it. Its aesthetic qualities arise from the specific characteristics of the project, which make people view it as something of their own, as one more responsible citizen. It is impossible to imagine South Florida without these historic monuments that form not only the architectural profile of the city, but also create a sense of community and collective pride. Whether through the work of the visionary Deering or the vision of the architect Pelli, South Florida continues to write its history through its monuments.